build the inventory, the money will come. How many people have been in the business less than 1 year in the room? Give me a show of hands if you have been. Less than 1 year. Okay. Let me tell you something. For the newbies in the room, and I say that with love, by the way, is don't ever count your commissions before the check hits the bank. Is that right? Am I right or wrong? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Now, I can't tell you why. I can tell you this, though, that Murphy has these antennas. And he's constantly looking for the real estate people. And he'll go, doot, 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 doot. Oh, she's pulling out a calculator. Doot, 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 doot. She's typing in these, am I right? And all of a sudden you hit that button, 6%, how much money I'm going to make, I can guarantee you the deal will crash. Especially if it's a deal you need. Am I right or wrong? It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So don't count the money until it hits the bank. Count the listings you've got. Don't worry about the money each week. Worry about building the inventory. The money will look after itself. The A then, make your goal attainable. A stretch, but not an impossibility. If you haven't brought in 8 listings in 8 years, don't say I'm going to take Leader's Choice and take 8 listings in 8 weeks. Because it may be not attainable for you. Your goal should be a stretch, but not an impossibility. The R then, in SMART goals, stands for reward yourself. And I'm not talking about my reward is that I've got a 30-year mortgage, I'm going to pay it off in 20. You know what? That's okay, good. I'm glad you're going to pay it off quick. What I'm talking about is little rewards each week. Such as, if I book my 3 appointments this week and I bring in 1 listing, I'm taking Friday off. I'm going to go home, I'm going to run myself a big old bubble bath. I'm going to put my CD on. Maybe I'll open a little wine. Heck, who knows? If no one's looking, I may even sneak behind the garage and have a smoke. Now, I'm not advocating taking time off work, drinking and smoking. That's not what I'm advocating. Not a bad idea on a Friday. But what I am advocating is giving yourself a little pat on the... Yeah, there's an old saying, all work and no play makes Johnny A. And in our business, gang, you need to reward yourself with little things. Maybe it's that if I bring in X number of listings this month, I'm going to take a weekend away and I'm going to the spa. Or I'm going to a bed and breakfast with my significant other, and we're going to relight the fire. I don't know what it would be. Maybe you're going to send your spouse to the West Coast while you go to the East Coast. I got no idea what it might be. But the point is this, is that you need to reward yourself a little bit so you go that extra mile. It makes you excited. And then the T stands for track. We talk about ourselves being business people, but I can tell you honestly, gang, one of the areas that we miss on being successful in the real estate business is personal accountability. We have a coaching division at Marc Leder Courses, Leader's Choice International. I can't tell you today to the minute, my CFO could, but we have dozens of people. Several, I probably could even be a couple hundred people each month paying us for coaching. And my coaches get mad at when I say this to them because if you ask when we do a customer survey on it, and you ask the people that are taking our coaching program, what is the number 1 reason why you signed up for coaching? And more times than not, about 52 or 55% of the response came back, I want someone to be accountable to. Well, I'm going to tell you what, gang, the truth of the matter is, you have to become accountable to yourself. Are you with me? And I'm not lecturing here, I'm just being what? Speaking from the heart, but shooting from the hip. Now don't get me wrong, I'm all for it. Pay our coaches money, don't get me wrong, because there's a lot more to it than that. But I always figured that when you can become accountable to yourself, you are then a long way ahead of most people. Think about most successful businesses out there. The most successful franchise ever in the history is McDonald's. If you were to go to their head office right now, wherever it may be, and you ask them how many Big Macs do they sell in Singapore in the last hour, they could press a button and tell you, am I right or wrong? Why? Because they track, they track, they track, they track. So here I want to give you your first technique that's going to help you increase your productivity. Every Friday at 3 o'clock, you need to have an office meeting with yourself. You need to pull out your checkbook, put a vanity mirror in front of you, and if you are a business person, which you should be a business person before you're anybody else, you should write yourself a paycheck. And let's assume you want to make $100 grand a year, about $2,000 a week. So every Friday at 3 o'clock is payday. You pull that out, you write yourself a check for $2,000, and you pull that check out and you hand it to that person in the mirror. And you ask yourself this question: if I hired you off the street to do this job for my company today, how would I feel about giving you $2,000 of my money for your effort? You with me? Yes. Now I can tell you more times than not, a lot of people won't do that because they'll have a hard time looking in the what? Mirror. But gang, you need to. You need to each week evaluate your business. What did I do well? What do I need work on? Did I get in the office? Did I do those high income producing activities first, or did I do the activities that were easiest to me first? And I can generally tell you the highest income producing activities are the ones that you make the most per hour. So you take your SMART goals, you then make a commitment to achieve those goals. And under the word commitment in the dictionary, it's going to say three things. It's going to say pledge, entrust, perform. Pledge, entrust, perform. Pledge, entrust, perform. Now, what are we pledging to in the real estate business? Well, before I got in the real estate business, every morning we went to school. Back home, I pledged allegiance to the Queen. We pledged allegiance to our flag by singing our national anthem, and we pledged allegiance to the higher power by doing the Lord's Prayer. I personally think the Lord's Prayer should be back in the schools, but anyhow, that's another thank you. I try to throw that in everywhere I go. Why not? Right? But I honestly believe that. But in the real estate business, what are we pledging to? You are pledging to achieve the goal you set for yourself. That's your pledge. What do we entrust to? Well, write this down beside entrust. Entrust that if you do the activities, leave the end result up to a higher power, whatever that higher power might be to you. Now, let me paint a picture for you here. You see, because in order for you to be successful or take your career to the next level, I need you to believe. I need you to give yourself blind faith. I need you to give your managers blind faith. I need you to give Tim blind faith. And I need you to believe. Now, I paint a picture for you for a second about having blind faith. How many people in the room have ever planted a garden or done any gardening at all? Give me a show of hands if you have. Okay, well then if you planted a garden, then you have blind faith whether you realize it or not. Think about this. There's a husband and wife walking down the street after dinner one night. Just a little walk through the neighborhood to work the meal off. Could be having a glass of wine or a cup of tea. It doesn't matter. They're just casually walking and they're looking. And they stop. And the husband says to the wife this, says, "Sweetie, look at that house. God has blessed that family with such a beautiful garden." And of course, we all know that women are far more intelligent than men. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about this. What's more important, Father Time or Mother Nature? Am I right or wrong? Just guys, they let us think that we ruled the roost. But anyhow, the wife turns and looks at the husband and says this, "No, dear, God has blessed that family with somebody who wants to build a beautiful garden." You see, if you've ever done any gardening, you'll know that you got to have blind faith. You'll take a plot of grass, you'll cut the grass out, we turn the soil, we maybe put some fertilizer on it, we plant some seeds, we water it with love, we take a step back, and what's the first thing that grows in every garden? Absolutely. What's the first thing that grows in most realtors' mind when there's a challenge? Negativity. Am I right or wrong? Okay, but we pull those weeds out, we turn that soil, we fertilize it, we water with love, we take a step back, and what's the next thing that comes out? More weeds. More weeds, that's right. Because anyone who knows who's successful, that you're going to have to get knocked down a couple of times before you'll ever rise up to reach your true potential and success in life. Think about this. Colonel Sanders was bankrupt 7 years, 7 times. 7 times the man went bankrupt. The fellow who started Greyhound Bus, 4 times. And it goes on and on and on. That's what's part of the system. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying I wish I was born with the last name Rockefeller and 8 zeros in my bank account, but it didn't work that way. Am I right or wrong? Who else wished they could change the name to Rockefeller and add zeros to it? Anyhow, absolutely. So we pull the weeds, we turn the soil, we fertilize with water with love, and all of a sudden, not long, we get this beautiful garden. But you could never achieve that garden if you didn't have some blind what? You've got to have some blind faith. See, gang, there's certain activities you have to do every day in the real estate business. There are certain activities you have to do. And when you do those activities every day, over and over and over again, yes, there's going to be weeds. Yes, there's going to be deals that fall apart. Yes, there's going to be people that tell you they make so much and you go to financing it's not. Yes, there's going to be houses that don't pass inspection. Those are all what? Weeds. And you got to pull those out and get rid of them and constantly focus on doing the activities that you've got to do in order to be successful. And the number one activity each week is we got to bring in 1 listing. Say it with me. We got to bring in 1 listing. And when you do that, the weeds will disappear. So you pledge, you will entrust, you will naturally perform. And when we're talking about naturally performing, if I could show you a formula that I'll guarantee you, no matter what happens in your career, if you follow this formula, you will generate a 6-figure income in any marketplace. How many would want it? Give me a show of hands. Or better yet, give me a yeah, man. Yeah. There you go. And the formula is called, or I call it the formula for success. And there's 4 parts to the formula for success. How many, please? 4. There you go. The first one is, each week, you must bring in 1 saleable listing. Now, let's just work the math out here. If we brought in 1 listing a week for a year, how many listings would we bring in? Okay, I may have set you up for that, but the truth of the matter is, the truth of the matter is you need to take at least 4 weeks off a year in real estate as a minimum. I would prefer to see you get to 8 weeks, but I'd like for sure to see 4 weeks. And you should only be working 5.5 days a week, because if not, you will burn yourself out. Your production will shoot up, and then you will drop like a rock going into the water, because you will burn yourself out. Your mental health, physical health will only help you financially if you are on your game. It's no different than professional baseball players. You can't have a pitcher pitch every game. Okay? It's just not possible. The body wears itself out. It's like that ever-ready bunny that keeps going and going and going. Do they have to plug that tail in sooner or later? Your perfect schedule for real estate is 3 months on, 1 week off. 3 months on, 1 week off. 3 months on, 1 week off. Giving you now. That means we'll bring in 48 listings. Now, if what I was going to share with you, I said all 48 would sell, I'd have a credibility problem, yes or no? But can we say half will sell? Could we say 24? Yeah, give me a little enthusiasm. There you go. Okay, so 48 would be 24. Now, what's your average sale price? Just ballpark in this neck of the woods. 2 1/4. So let's use 200, make the math easier. And let's use 6%, but I'm going to teach you how to get 7. At least if you get a couple of them each year, it might be worth your while. So let's use 6. So 200,000 at 6 is $12,000. Half of that would be the listing side, would be 6. So 6 times 24 would be 120, would be $144,000. Now, I want you to think about something for a minute, gang. According to the IRS, the average combined income in the United States, no matter the United States and Canada, it's all about the same today. You might as well call it one country. Is under $60,000. I think it's 56,000 is the